I'm Brent. It's Bloody Nose Garage. Today I'm posting a tape recording of an intake manifold I powder coated. This is going to go in my 1959 Chevy Apache, picked up in Oklahoma from a good old boy, Trump supporter. Anyway, it had about zero life left in it, but I downsized my house and saved up a little money, and I enlisted the Troy Maiman Motorsports to bring it back to life, lay the frame, LS it. We're going to put a 5-speed manual in it so maybe I can pop the clutch. Wheel stand it a little bit while I go to work. Anyway, this intake manifold I wanted a copper penny to match the oil pan. That's going to match the steel wheels. So, I will show you how I did this in my custom oven, in my custom media blast cabinet, and I think you'll learn something because I sure did. But if you're interested and you want to name my truck, just leave a comment what you think I should name it. And if I like the name and I use it, I'll make you a hat similar to this. You pick the color, and I'll mail it to you. I promise. Okay, so watch up.
So here I got this intake manifold. I think it's a 8-cylinder Holly. Anywho, I got it's a brand new part, but I'm gonna put it in my sandblast cabinet to remove the oxide. As you may see, this media cabinet I modified the hell out of. That's gonna be a separate video you can watch anytime at your leisure. So I'm gonna give this a good once over, get rid of that oxide coating, and I'm gonna be wearing gloves. I don't want to introduce any more oils than are already there from the factory or from Troy Maiman handling it, or me. Been eating a lot of pork rinds lately. So here I'm going to pull it out of that monster mega media blasting cabinet, and of course I'm going to forget to turn the air on, look like a jackass, but okay, yeah, there you go. Good one. Anywho, I'm going to blow all the media off that I can. You notice I taped the top of that where that gasket thing is supposed to go, so I just didn't want to rough up that mating surface. Anyway, you can tell it's already got a different sheen to it with that aluminum oxide off it, and it's gonna absorb that deep rich copper penny. You may have noticed I'm an old man. I have to wear cheaters and I look like a dork, but just part of growing old. So I get asked like up to 100 times a day, what's the Bloody Nose Garage and who makes your apparel? Bloody Nose is the term we use at my day job, which is top secret, and you're asked to do the impossible with a smile on your face. Sarah Holven with Midwest Dirt Road Designs made my shirt, and I'm very happy with it. Thank you. Here I'm using this crud cutter stuff I found. It's a pre-paint like conditioner. It helps get rid of the grease and maybe throws a little etch on there for extra paint adhesion. Here I'm going to throw a little elbow grease in with a brush, just try and get rid of any debris that's left from the factory. But it was a new part, so I'm not really worried about it, just kind of horsing around. So after good lathering, I'm going to wipe all this down, get as much off as I can. Eventually, I'm going to bake this part in the oven and bring up any debris that's ingrained in it and burn it off. So now I got it as clean as it's going to get. I'm going to flip it over, and I found this 4-inch wide high temp tape. It's a pain in the ass to pull apart without it tearing, but yeah, it's gonna tape off anything I don't want copper penny powder coat to adhere to. Of course, it's like a 1/2 inch short of being wide enough, so I'm gonna have to put another little strip of I got some green high temp tape too there. I'm gonna finish off covering the little tidbits that missed. Once you get this damn stuff unrolled properly, it sticks very well, and I'm happy with it. I bought all this stuff from the Amazon salesman. You may know during this whole process I'm going to be hopefully wearing gloves to eliminate contaminating the part with any of my pork rind fingers. You'll see two in the background. I got extra paint containers. I ordered them from Eastwood so I can change colors of powder relatively easy without having any waste. Yeah, this powder coating deal, I was a little intimidated by it, but once I got into it and I did my first experimental airplane parts for Eric, the stunt pilot, I've been having a lot of fun. It's pretty forgiving. This intake manifold is going to be the hardest thing just because of all the tight recesses, and that's made difficult because of a thing called a Faraday. That's a condition I believe I've read on the internet where you're negatively charging that part, and in those recesses it builds up a strong negative charge, so it wants to repel anything instead of accept. That's what this simple man recollects. So here I'm just taping off the tidbits my yellow tape didn't cover. Here you can see I'm using a utility knife, and after I got into this, you want to get an X-Acto knife. It's a lot sharper on this tape. It cuts a lot easier. Here I'm just keeping some tension on that tape, and it with the X-Acto knife, it's pretty easy to trim around. I bought a ton of blades because scraping against this metal, they're not going to last that long. But once again, that Amazon salesman, he sold me a boatload. It seems like there's a lot of prep before you ever get to have any fun and start throwing the powder around, but it's worth it once you get this all taped off and it's stuck down. You don't have to worry about contaminate your part in areas that you don't want paint and you have to grind it off later. Well, now we're going to flip her over and tape the top. You can see how I've already attached the negative wire, and I've put in silicone plugs in the threaded holes I don't want filled with paint. So I'm starting to get the hang of this big roll of yellow tape. It's working with me finally. So I'm going to tape off the top of this intake manifold. I'm going to trim it, then I'm going to start baking this sucker. So this whole time I've been preheating my oven. I got it working with 2 burners now, and it rolled right up to, I set it for 450. I just wanted to get the part thrown in there, get it warmed up and baked off for a few minutes. Then it should be good to go for first coat of the zinc rich primer. I'm Gumby, damn it. There you can see I put new latches on the oven. Really happy. They work a lot better than the contraptions I was using earlier. Anyway, this thing's hot, and I'm going to throw this into pre-bake. Just get rid of any debris that's inside the metal and let it burn off, and then it should be ready for a good coating. Someday I'm going to make a video on this oven. I wish I would have videotape recorded all the steps and the trials and tribulations, but you'll get the gist of it. I'm not an electrician. I only deal with low voltage, but yeah, I made it work. There you go. Okay, here's the Eastwood gun. Last thing I sprayed was copper penny on an oil pan for the Troy Mayman's truck he's building me. Anyway, I got to clean it up, so I thought I'd show you how I do it, and you'll see why I use extra paint containers. Here I am showing you how smart I am not wearing a respirator. I don't plan on living that long. I figure all the methane and herbicides I ingested when I was growing up farming will kill me way before these powders will. So the end of this Eastwood gun's got a diffuser on it, and it's just a piece of plastic. Anyway, I pull that off, and there's a little bit of grizz bits in there that you can get out if you're worried about contaminating a part with a different color paint. So here now I'm throwing on the zinc rich copper, and I'll be ready to shoot. I'm not happy with my paint setup here. I was using these stupid sawhorses. I mean, they're great sawhorses, but yeah, this is not conducive to a efficient workspace. But I would like to build a cabinet, maybe a downdraft filter of some sort, and lighting, and maybe some sides so it kind of pushes the powder in, and maybe you can get a better coat. So on my air compressor, I'm using a 3-stage water filter, whatever, and air dryer, and I also have that one mounted on my gun just so last defense there before I get any water droplets and ruin my awesome paint. And here's a tip I saw online: you coat the edges of your oven racks to prevent paint baking and sealing itself in the oven. Yeah, so I'm not looking forward to doing that. So here I've attached the ground cord to the wire that's attached to that bolt, and I got my thumb on the exciter, I'm going to call it, and I'm ready to start shooting. I'm going to concentrate on the tight crevices and to get the paint in there before it starts building up too much of a charge and wants to repel. I'm going to leave the flat surfaces to the end. And I got my air compressor set at 8 psi. So I should tell you that this part is still warm, and you can see it already kind of glossing over. And the instructions on this zinc rich primer were a little different than the other powders. It's 375 for only 3 minutes, and then they want you to recoat immediately with your, I'm going to call it the base coat, which is going to be my chrome today. You can see it's already kind of flowing. It's getting a sheen to it, and it's going on really nice. This zinc rich primer is really thick and easy to work with. What I've seen is every time you put another layer on, it gets a little harder and harder to make it stick and adhere. It just seems like it's almost insulating itself from the charge. I could be way off on that. I'm not an expert. You can see I'm coating the bottom. I'm not really, no one's ever going to see it except Troy, and I just want him to be happy with me. But the normal Joe at the car show that I'm going to enter is not going to be able to see that. So this coat of primer, I'm not super fussy. I just want to get it in the oven, get it baking, and I got a trap door I put in the oven so I can shoot my laser through and look at the surface temperature, because that's critical. Air temperature means nothing in a powder coat oven. So there you can see the edges of the oven rack are clean, and I'm ready to throw it in with my Gumby gloves on. So I got here. I got a couple minutes. I'm gonna switch out. I'm gonna clean up and save as much of that zinc rich. Keep it in the container, and then put the lid on that. Keep it air dry, and I'm gonna clean it off. And I'm gonna switch to chrome, and that is an Eastwood product that I'm using today. So the final result in this intake I want is copper penny, but to get there you need to do a base coat underneath of a chrome powder that gives it the bright shiny. If you didn't use that chrome, it kind of looks like a turd orange. Alright, so here I'm shooting through my peephole and looking at the temperature with my infrared thermometer, and I'm just waiting for it to get up to 375, and I'm gonna do a countdown for 3 minutes and pull it out. All right, it's looking good. So I'm gonna hook up the, yeah, right, thumbs up. Um, so here's the infrared thermometer I bought on off the Amazon truck that showed up the other day. It works well. It's straight from China, so you know it's good. Yeah, there. But you can see the part 300 and something. I can't read it. So I'm going to hook up the negative. That's a dash, I think. Anywho, yeah, then I'll be ready to push the exciter trigger button, which is a lot of fun, and I'm going to start shooting it. Once again, I'm going to concentrate on the tight recesses and crevices first, try and get that powder in there as fast as I can. And as hot as this part is, it's pretty much baking instantly. I kind of like shooting it hot. In the industry, they call it hot flocking. I haven't done too much reading up on that, but yeah, basically you're shooting it. It's baking pretty much. You still have to bake it in the oven, but it really wants to stick. It seems a lot more forgiving than shooting a cold part. As you can see, I've already forgot to cover the oven racks on the edges, so yeah, I'm a little bit touched in the head. But you can see that chrome is already turning shiny. It's just a lot of fun to shoot. So yeah, you should try it. So a lot of that's powder in the air, but some of it's just steam because it's baking and it's kind of sizzling. Yeah, I do have a respirator on now. I'm not always dumb. So with this coat, I'm going to give a little more extra care and attention because I want a nice shiny coat, which will make my copper really stand out later. Um, yeah, so really just getting it in the crevices, worry about the flats later. Those are easy to coat. And I am going to shoot underneath just for Troy. But yeah, there I go. Um, so yeah, you can see it's really steaming. It's cooling off, but it's still warm enough. It's baking. It's looking great. Little side note: when you're putting paint in your container before you put it in the gun, you don't want to go over like an inch and a half. That's plenty powder. They don't want it over half, and you don't use a whole lot. It's amazing how a little powder goes a long ways. Okay, so I'm happy with it. I'm gonna throw it in the oven, and I'm gonna keep watching that part temp through my peephole uh, until it gets 375, and then I'm gonna set a timer for 20 minutes. So here the chrome layer's finished baking in the oven, and I'm gonna switch over to the copper penny. That's Eastwood product, and here's where the magic happens. So once again, I'm gonna hit the tight areas first, and I don't know. This is the third coat, and it just doesn't seem like it's as forgiving as the first coat or two. It almost seems like that that layer of paint there is almost an insulator. But it's going on. It just seems like every layer is harder to put on. But you can see how it's almost baking instantly. I mean, this is definitely being hot flocked. And I don't know. I just kept shooting it, and at some point, I'm gonna take that diffuser off the end and really shoot some powder in the tight areas, just so it gets in there and helps coat evenly. So if you ever do this and you get that electrode a little close to your part, you're gonna see a little lightning bolt. First time it kind of made me scared, but yeah, it's something you'll get used to. It just happens. You might see it in the video. There will be just a lightning bolt. Yeah, it makes your hairs stand on end a little bit. No, it's not bad. Just don't worry about it. I'm done having kids anyway. So as you may notice, I forgot to coat the sides of the oven rack. So yeah, that's gonna fight me once I try and pull this out of that oven in about a half hour. So yeah, a little inside joke on me. Kind of feel like I'm on Jeopardy with that thing in my hand, but that is just to electrically charge that gun. If I would take that off, that powder would just be flying around the room, probably right in my eyes. But yeah, a lot of the higher end guns, you don't have a trigger like that. It's just automatic. So it's probably something I could hot wire, but I don't want to display my skill set too often at home. Like I said before, you don't use a whole lot of powder. Yeah, of course. Now I think I'm running out, so I'm shaking it a little bit, and I think I'm gonna have to add some. I can't remember when I did this a while back. I'm just editing now. Yeah, you can see how it's hard to get in the tight areas. That's just this. I knew this piece was gonna be a lot harder than that big oil pan. And right here, you'll see why I want to get a better paint setup because I've pretty much constructed an optical course, moving around, and yeah, it's just not, it's not good. So here I'm just blowing it on like crazy, just trying to get a nice even out any of the heavy spots. It's hard to tell with it baking. Um, it's all different, but I am seeing some crevices. I just haven't been able to get in there. So now I'm going to take that diffuser off, and it's a really tight fit. I was surprised. I didn't want to break that damn end of the gun off, but it will come off in the end. So once I get that pulled off, I'm going to really try and aim it in there like a rifle into the light spots that I can see, and maybe I'll make some sparks. I don't know, but I'm just trying to. Yeah, you can see I'm just shooting it in there. Yeah, after seeing my crappy setup here, I can't wait to build that. Some type of cabinet. I'd like it to be a rotisserie so I can just stand and spin apart without jostling it too much. But I don't know. We'll see. I'd like to hold in that powder as much as I can. Maybe it will reclaim itself after. But I don't know. There, I'm looking it over. I might see a spot. I think, yeah. This was a month ago, but yeah, I see a couple of spots, tight areas. I'm gonna just give it a one more good going over, and then I'm gonna bake it. So there, I'm giving you the thumbs up, and we're gonna bake it. Of course, now I see, yeah, there's there's going to be powder all over the sides of this damn oven rack, and it's going to stick in the oven. Good one on me. All right, let's do this.
All right, so I hope you appreciated the tape recording of this intake manifold. I made some modifications to that oven, and I'm going to video record those. It's really turning out pretty slick. So I'm going to drive this down to the Wapsie River Valley and get to Troy's place in about an hour. Maybe he'll throw this on, that fire-breathing dragon he's building for me. I have no doubt in him. He's a legend. Yeah. And once again, leave a comment. If you name my truck, I'll make you a hat. It's just something I do to my friends. Anyway, until next time, subscribe. Keep an eye on my truck. All right, love you. Bye.